Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Tuesday, the 30th of April, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed up nearly 0.5% to 7,664 points, though for the month of April, it was down 3%. The lithium stocks, which have been under pressure, led the market higher today. Arcadium Lithium and IGO both did well, jumping around 8%. Among the large caps, the banks were higher. Fortescue Metals Group jumped 1.5%, while Wesfarmers was up nearly 2%. Goodman Group also did pretty well. Engineering company Worley Limited was the biggest laggard, down 7.5% after confirming its largest shareholder, a Dubai-based infrastructure group, had sold 19% of shares. Power producer Origin reported a 16% reduction in gas revenue in fiscal 2024 due to lower oil prices and contract prices, and fuel supplier Ampol lost 3% after reporting a 21% drop in Lytton refiner margins in the 3 months to March. Story number 2, mining giants BHP and Vale have reached a $38 billion settlement deal with the Brazilian government for the 2015 tailings dam disaster at their Samarco iron ore complex. The proposal comes after talks between the Brazilian authorities and Samarco's 50-50 joint ventures. It seemed at an impasse last year amid reports of a Brazilian push for more than $60 billion in cleanup and compensation costs, according to the Financial Review. Now, BHP this morning confirmed the deal had been reached. Media reports suggest its totals about 127 billion Brazilian reals, that's about 38 billion Aussie dollars, which includes 37 billion Brazilian reals already dispersed via the Renova Foundation, a special reparations unit that BHP and Vale set up to deal with the disaster's aftermath. In 2015, a BHP Vale dam collapsed, causing a mudslide. It killed 19 people and severely polluted a major river. Story number 3, Coles released its third quarter sales today, and they jumped 3% to push through $10 billion. People are spending more in supermarkets, but for necessities, less on luxuries like beer and wine. Coles benefited from its Australia Day promotions, and apparently Pokemon collectibles are doing pretty well also. Boss Leah Weckert said there was a meaningful increase in customers interacting with digital platforms and loyalty programs. The good news on the prices front is shelf inflation fell to 2.2% during the March quarter. It was 3%. That's due to lower increases in packaged goods and also deflation in fresh produce, meats and bakery items. Story number 4, the federal government will invest $470 million and the Queensland government $470 million in a company hoping to build the world's first quantum computer. The company, Psi Quantum, that's PSI Quantum, is US-owned and has its headquarters in Palo Alto in California, though it was set up by Australians. The Fed's contribution is part of the government's Future Made in Australia strategy. The joint investment will secure Psi Quantum's Asia-Pacific headquarters in Brisbane. As part of the investment, Psi Quantum will create up to 500 highly skilled jobs, establish partnerships within the local quantum industry, create a new dedicated climate research centre, and invest in university and research collaborations, including PhD positions and internships. The goal is to create the world's first quantum computer in Brisbane. Proponents of quantum computers argue that, if created, they'll be critical in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, medical research, all sorts of things. And story number 5, President Xi Jinping is heading to Europe for the first time in 5 years, hoping to convince leaders over there of the economic opportunities in China. Mr. Xi will begin his 5-day trip to France, Serbia and Hungary on May 5. All those nations are seeking investment from China, despite a bunch of EU probes into Beijing's industrial policy and the warnings from officials in Washington about the risks. Now, according to Bloomberg, President Emmanuel Macron aims to deepen his personal connection with Mr. Xi during the 2-day visit to France as he appeals to the Chinese leader to urge Vladimir Putin to end Russia's war in Ukraine. Mr. Macron also aims to entice Chinese spending into France's EV battery sector. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 30th of April, 2024. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. The top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.